Welcome to Debating Metal. I'm your host, Kenneth Dean, the Dean of Metal, along with my co-host, the everlasting Chris Kaye. So this episode is going to be a little different. How different? I don't really know, but I do know someone who does. Chris?
So I thought it would be some fun this week to kind of test our metal knowledge a bit. So we're going to try something different. I've put together a kind of quiz, asking some different kind of questions. We'll go over those as the episode continues on. But this week I'm just going to be asking Kenneth some metal questions. Some surprising stuff about all different genres, and we'll see how this works. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So with that said, sit back, relax, turn it up to 11, and let the debate begin. All right, Chris, so you have some questions for me. I think I'll have some answers for you. All right, so this is your show, buddy. You take it over.
Yeah, so basically I was just kind of listening to some different stuff, and I was just like thinking in my head, like, obviously things are different. Like we can't just go to, the RIAA? Is that the organization
that stamp stuff gold and platinum?
Yeah, we can't really go to all that information anymore because streaming is taken over and everything. So I just thought, like, okay, what's a good basis to go on in modern day of like what's popular, and so I went on and like found some information about how many streams different metal songs are getting now. And so I'm using Spotify as a basis. We're not sponsored by Spotify, but we'll be happy to take their sponsorship. Spotify, please do. So I picked some different songs out, and I'm going to ask you who has the more streams on Spotify. And it's got to be, kind of a rapid fire answer, and we can talk a little bit about it, but some of them are a little surprising to me. So the first one I have for you is, who do you think has more streams, or which song has more streams? We'll start with your favorite band. So Metallica, Master of Puppets versus Enter Sandman. Which one has more streams?
I'm going to guess on that one that Enter Sandman has more streams. And the reason why is because it's been such a mainstream song for so long that I think it has more streams, and that Master of Puppets is probably catching up and maybe has I would say in Metallica as a whole, it's probably got like maybe it's 3, 4, or 5 somewhere in there in overall streams, because one song that is in there is Nothing Else Matters, probably has a bajillion streams too. So my guess is going to be Enter Sandman.
Well, you are correct. So Enter Sandman has almost Enter Sandman has almost 1 billion more streams.
Wow.
Than Master of Puppets. So Master of Puppets is at 1.25 billion, and Enter Sandman is at 2.12.
Jeez.
Yeah, billion. So what's interesting to me, obviously, is like, okay, the Master of Puppets had the big resurgence because of Stranger Things. So I thought maybe it's risen up, but I mean, I've heard Enter Sandman so many times, even in the grocery store, and back when I used to go to the Astros games all the time. So I think 2 or 3 players used it as their theme song coming out and stuff. So, yeah, man, like that was crazy to me. 2.12 billion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's so difficult to really comprehend the mainstreamness of Metallica in general, and specifically songs like Enter Sandman and let's say Nothing Else Matters and things like that. That it being a metalhead, you don't realize, or maybe some do, what the crossover appeal is with Enter Sandman. It's just, I mean, first of all, it's been around for 35 years, so there's that. But and yes, Master of Puppets has been there longer, but Master of Puppets is also a lot more hardcore in terms of the type of difference that someone in the mainstream, or what do you call them, normies,
Normies,
so,
yes.
so someone in the mainstream would have in comparison to, you know, they're going to think, oh, Master Puppets, that's that really heavy stuff. That's really hardcore. They don't know what hardcore really is. They don't know punk. They don't know hardcore metal. They don't know hardcore punk. They
Yeah.
don't understand what that is. To them, anything harder than Enter Sandman is just like that really crazy shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's why I would immediately thought Enter Sandman was probably the bigger stream, but by
Uh,
by double billion, I didn't think that.
yeah. Well, you're 1 for 1. So, all right. So the next one, I'm also doing same band head to head against each other. Let's go with a Black Sabbath War Pigs versus Iron Man.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Um, wow, I would, because War Pigs has had a really really major crossover resurgence in the last probably 10 to 15 years.
Yeah,
Um, but I think I'm gonna go with Iron Man on that one.
you are correct.
Mm. Yeah,
So,
the only
so
reason being, if sorry to cut you off,
no, you're
but
good.
the only reason being that I think is that so many people know that Iron Man is Ozzy and Ozzy is Black Sabbath and that type of thing,
Mhm.
and that was such a much more famous song. Where like I said, War Pigs has become more resurgent in the last 10, 15 years due to some basically crossover appeal, and I don't know if it was video games or a TV show or something like that. I can't remember, but it was the intro for something for the longest time, and something that was popular out there in the mainstream.
I'm not really sure.
I
I
can't
mean,
remember what it is, but I do know it was out there.
Iron Man had a connection to the first movie and maybe even the second movie, Iron Man, and then War Pigs has been used on so many things in recent past, and there's been covers of it, and also like WWE started using it for their War Games pay per view. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah. All right. This one's going to be a crazy one. Lincoln Park in the End versus Nirvana. It Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Ooh, Lincoln Park in the End or Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit. That is definitely one to think about. I, oof, I was around when Kurt Cobain passed away and saw the impact that his death had on that crowd of people. I mean, that was the younger generation in my eyes at the time, which is really
Oh,
weird because, I mean, we're talking late '90s, right?
yeah.
Um, so I'm already in my 30s. 1999, I'm 30, so I'm in my late 20s. But for kids that were picking up, teenagers, I mean, that's half a generation behind me.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm going to sit there and say, and then Lincoln Park came out a few years later. So I'm going to sit there and say, Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit.
That is your first wrong answer.
Oh,
So, so that's what I would have thought too, right? That was my initial thought was like, it's got to be Nirvana. But then I thought like, okay, well, Nirvana's 1991, Linkin Park's 2000. Streaming didn't really hit till around the same time for both of those bands, really. So the thing is, like, Linkin Park was big at the time that streaming really came around. So it, I think they had a little bit of a leg up on that, but it's not much different. So Linkin Park's at 3.19 billion streams, and Nirvana was at 2.92 billion. So not far off.
No, it's 200. Was it 200 million or something like that? I don't know. I'm not doing the math. My mind is not mathing right now, but it's definitely behind. I see the point when you were saying, and I started thinking about it. And when you think about In the End, it is definitely a different kind of song than Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a tremendous amount of angst with Smells Like Teen Spirit, obviously.
Yeah.
In the end, is didn't you? Wasn't that the song that you sent me the video of the other day, where the crowd took over after?
It was, yeah. You're right.
So that song itself is so unusual in that there's the whole quiet parts, not quiet, but not as heavy, the clean singing, the rapping, and then towards the end when Chester screams. So it's got this. That's a really impactful, emotional song. Where Smells Like Teen Spirit is just a straight up, fuck you song.
So, pretty much, yeah. But I mean, both can appeal, obviously, in such a massive way that they're so close. I was really kind of like amazed by that. And then like it just the fact that you don't think about it, but both of those songs are pre-streaming. So I think that's the telling factor of it, is that like Nirvana almost 10 years before still has the same amount of impact as the song that came out 10 years later. That's pretty crazy to me too.
So. Yeah, that's an unusual, but that just goes, and go back to Enter Sandman. That was 2.12 billion streams, right? So that's behind. Yeah. It's behind Smells Like Teen Spirit, but yes, it was also behind. It was well before. Well, actually, no, it was only a few years before. No, actually,
same
that
amount
song
of time,
came out the same year as Smells Like Teen Spirit. So you see the difference there. I mean, it's that kind of. They're still just huge songs,
Yeah.
So,
all right. So for the fourth one, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to pit a popular metal song against the popular pop song. So, Chop Suey from System of a Down versus Lady Gaga's Poker Face.
Chop Suey versus Poker Face. I'm going to go with Poker Face because that was a big song for her.
It's a huge song.
It just has so much more crossover appeal, I guess. Not crossover to metal, but just in general.
So you are correct. But not by much. You'd be surprised. So Poker Face is at 2.18 billion, and Chop Suey is at 2.02 billion. So only a small amount more. So man, that shocked me, because I would have thought that Poker Face would have been a lot more.
When did Poker Face come out?
2008. And Chop Suey is 2001.
Chop Suey, such a cool song.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me that's such a big. Such a small difference.
Yeah. It's just it literally is. So it just tells you the impact of the alternative scene, and I'm just going to say alternative and singularize that as whatever it may be, because alternative means so many different things to so many different people. But you see and hear a band like System of a Down, and you don't think there's going to be too many people that are fans. I'm going to put it that way, that fans of Lady Gaga that will get that. But there's going to be a core. So you're talking about almost two different fan bases, that type of thing, or two different genre bases. They both have a shit ton of people in it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that is it. The fact that it's that close is pretty interesting. Yeah.
All right. So the next one is Black Sabbath's Paranoid versus Katy Perry's Hot and Cold.
Oh wow! I don't know how big of a song "Hot and Cold" is. So, so speaking along those lines, I was telling my wife. She was telling me something about um some popular music, right? And then she's like, "You haven't heard that song before?" I'm like, "Babe, I don't listen to the radio." And she's like, that's why, you get that reputation, not you meaning me, but people my age get that reputation of being old and, only wanting to hear the old times. And I said, yeah, because the older shit is what I like. It's just period about that. It's not that I don't like new music, but I don't want to listen to it as much as I want to listen to the older stuff. So I have no idea about. I mean, I know who Katy Perry is, and I've heard some of her songs, but I don't know that one in particular by
Okay.
name. So it's going up against Paranoid. Oof. The fact that you're throwing it out there is kind of making me think differently about it.
Okay.
But maybe it was just a choice you came up with. I don't know. I'm going to say Katy Perry.
You are incorrect.
Oh, I knew that you were setting me up. I knew it. That's why I said that.
It is Black Sabbath Paranoid. So Black Sabbath Paranoid is at 1.65 billion, and Katy Perry's Hot and Cold is at 1.44 billion. So yeah, Black Sabbath kicked your ass, Katy Perry. uh yeah, I mean, I heard that song a ton of times, on the radio and stuff like that back when, my previous job. And it's one of those like it's kind of an earworm, and unfortunately it's not something I'm into. But I was thinking, like, okay, what's an old metal song that could have possibly beaten it? So um all right, so, and we're talking like oldest, so
Yeah, right.
um so next one is, and I didn't realize I put so much like Aussie stuff on here, but yeah. Let's do Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train versus Madonna's Material Girl.
Ooh, ooh, Ozzy, Crazy
Yep.
Train.
Yep, you are correct.
And then,
Um
my reasoning for that is because Crazy Train is fucking everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. I was at Jimmy John's yesterday for lunch. I was just, picking up my sandwich and going back to the office.
Not
And
sponsored by Jimmy John's, but we'll take your
no,
sponsorship.
we'll take a free sandwich. So, um, and I'm pouring, I'm basically getting my drink at the fountain, and Crazy Train's playing, and everyone's just, it's background music. But back in the day, background music was, all that Muzak shit that was, played in piano, and it was all instrumental. And you had to be like top 40 to get into certain stores and stuff like that. But Crazy Train's everywhere.
hmm
Everywhere. So when I heard it yesterday, it's funny that you brought up that thing against Material Girl. Madonna's Material Girl is a huge song, but I haven't heard anything new from Madonna in ages. And so I think that the not the impact, but I think the streaming of all those older songs have slowed down tremendously in comparison to Crazy Train, where Ozzy dying last year, and just all these different things continuously being in the press about Ozzy and that song and all that. That song is just, it's mainstream. It's about as it's I don't want to make this comparison, but it's about as mainstream as the Beatles.
So I probably should have gone with my first instinct and picked Like a Prayer, because it got a bunch of recent popularity because of Deadpool. And so, but
That's
I didn't know if you would know that, so I picked Material Girl instead. They're not super close, but they're pretty close. Crazy Train's at 981 million, and Material Girl's at 700 million plus. So a little bit
Oh, wow.
over 700 million.
So there's a video going around Facebook, I guess it is, and that tells you that I'm an old guy. That talks about because nowadays you can isolate all the different songs, all the different tracks on songs.
Mm-hmm.
So they isolated the bass line and the drum parts of Crazy Train, and if you listen to it carefully, it's a disco song. It is the craziest thing to hear, the way the drums sound, and then the bass, because it's hard to hear the bass until it gets to the end of its riff, quote unquote, right? So you don't hear the doom, 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 but you do hear the dum, 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 so whatever, however the bass line goes, right?
Yeah.
You can hear that behind the riff, but the part that makes it sound disco-y is the first part where it's going along with the bass drum of the song, and the bass drum's got the drumming is got like a, not a shuffle, but it's got the where you're basically playing the hi-hat along with the bass drum. It is so weird to listen to that isolated. So yeah, that's a kind of a different song, even though it's a metal song.
That's actually something I've noticed when looking into songs a little more recently, like where, because I do a bit of singing and stuff like that, so I'll like pull karaoke tracks and stuff like that to practice and everything. But what I found, which is really interesting, is when you separate the different parts of the song, you hear so many different things that you didn't ever notice before, and especially with like drum tracks and stuff like that, where I'm like, wow, that you just don't realize it unless you're really focused on it. You're a musician, or I know you guys out there like pick that stuff up instantly, but I'm the type of listener that's listening for the full experience, and then the further I get into listening to songs, then I start like picking apart with my ears and everything. But even further than that, yeah, like what you're talking about is so cool. So I've got, let's see, I'll ask all three of these. So I've got the next one. This is the last one I've got two more that I'm comparing to pop songs. So let's do Judas Priest, Breaking the Law versus Christina Aguilera's Beautiful.
Breaking the Law was one of the first songs I introduced to my kids when they were like 2-3 years old, and I was driving them to daycare, and they would sit in the back seat, and I would like, hey, check this out, girls, and I play Breaking the Law, and because it's got such a cool right, it's got that little rhythm, right? But then they got into the whole breaking the law. They were doing the whole Beavis and Butthead kind of sound in the back seat because they're kids, right? And so they learned that. They learned Living After Midnight. So that was one of the first songs that I showed to my girls, and they can pick it out nowadays. So to make that point, in comparison to Christina Aguilera, I'm gonna have to say Christina Aguilera.
You are correct. It's not a tremendous amount more. So Judas Priest is at 358 million, and Christina Aguilera's song is at 387 million. So
that's not a big difference.
All of you listeners, go listen to Judas Priest right now, since we have, however many million listeners out there.
All of our listeners at one time would not get it back up there.
Now y'all gotta listen something million times. All right, so I've got next Um, Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff
Ooh.
versus Nelly Hot in Here.
Um, ooh, so that's a really interesting one because Nelly's you're talking about the rapper, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's getting
Um,
hot in here though.
see, I don't know this song. Um,
Oh,
and
you've
then you're
never
talking.
heard that song? That's shocking to me because it's
You know
been
what?
in like a lot of movies and that kind of
It's I
stuff.
probably have heard it. I don't know it by name. I don't know it by. Oh yeah, that song. If I heard it or if it came up, I'll probably be like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, I know what song that is, right? But
Okay.
I don't know the name of the song. I probably wouldn't even know the artist if I heard the song. But now I'm trying to. You want me to make a comparison to who? Oh, to Limp Bizkit, Break Stuff. Limp Bizkit was pretty damn popular back in the day. And Break Stuff was a big song, but it wasn't as big as it could have been because of the language, I think, that was in the song. Um, Not that that mattered to certain places, they you immediately beep it out or blank it out or whatever. But um, I'm going to sit there and say Limp Bizkit.
You are correct.
Ooh,
So Limp Bizkit's Break Stuff is at 1.18 billion streams. So that's a lot. I mean,
yeah, that's a lot of streams.
yeah. Hot in Here is at 755 million. So
That's a big
Limp,
difference.
yeah, Limp Bizkit blew it out of the water. But Hot in Here is such a big song that you would have thought it would have been more.
True.
But
But I don't know how. Like I said, since I I don't recognize the song by name.
yeah,
So
it's the one that's like, it's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. You never heard that one?
not the sung the way you do it.
Well, I'm not a hip hop guy. Yeah.
Come on, man. You got the
Yeah.
look.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
No, I don't recognize it really. I don't.
Yeah, I also need a ton of auto tuning to sound like that too. So, um, so anyway, yeah, Break Stuff. I mean, obviously, Limp Bizkit's had a little bit of a renaissance in the last few years, and I think people are back to kind of like accepting that they like some of the stuff that they've been saying they didn't for years. We've talked a little bit about that with like Creed and uh, Nickelback and stuff like that too. So I think Limp Bizkit's kind of getting that their flowers again a bit. So, all right, the last question I have in this category is going to be Iron Maiden's "Run to the Hills" versus Motorhead "Ace of Spades."
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Wow. Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills, Ace of Spades. There's a so the funny thing with that in my head is that I think in the general public, I think Ace of Spades is more popular. And the reason I say that is because I think Iron Maiden has got more songs that have become more quote unquote crossover. Like The Trooper would probably blow Ace of Spades away. So, but I don't think it blows Run to the Hills away. So I'm going to go with the Ace of Spades. Well,
You are,
sorry, I don't believe Ace of Spades blows Run to the Hills away. So Ace of Spades.
yes, you are correct.
Okay.
So Ace of Spades is at 568 million, and Run to the Hills is at 474 million. So not a whole lot different, but Ace of Spades, I think, um, probably a little more well known just to anybody, but obviously not a whole lot of difference there.
No, no, not at all. But okay, yeah. I mean, it was definitely. Um, I thought it was going to be close, but I had a feeling the Ace of Spades would be more popular.
All right, so I've got a few different questions here lined up. So let's
Okay.
see if you can name. Uh, uh, I'm gonna go with one, but let's see if you can do more than one. Can you name a metal band that has never changed lineup?
That has never changed lineup.
Yes. In their entire existence, never once changed their lineup.
That's an interesting one. It's not Megadeth.
Anyone with death in the name is not going to make this list.
At one point, and you're talking metal band, like you're not talking about like a hard rock band, right?
I mean, what's the cutoff for metals? I'm
right now I can say
name a band, and I'll tell you if it counts. Or
Cheap
not.
Trick, right?
I wouldn't call them a metal band,
right? Exactly. So I'm going to sit there and say Alter Bridge.
Okay, you are correct. Just for extra points, can you think of any others?
Not straight off the top of my head, but no, I can't really.
All right,
Motley Crue was like that up until the other day. And the other day, like a couple of years ago.
Well, no, Motley Crue changed a couple times.
Oh, that's right. Well, that's right.
And then they swithed their drummer when
they had come back to the original lineup. Yeah, you couldn't say that about Poison. Poison was like that for a while, but they're the original act now. Yeah. So no, I mean, shit.
So Rage Against the Machine.
Yes.
Rammstein.
See that I wouldn't know, only because I'm not familiar. But know what? I did hear that Rammstein had the same band since the beginning.
And this one you definitely wouldn't know was Duran Gray.
Who?
Duran Gray.
Oh no,
they're a famous Japanese. Avant-garde, like Visual Kei kind of band. Yeah.
If it ain't Loudness from Japan, I don't know them.
Fair enough. All right. So, in the same vein, can you name a band with no original members?
Let's see. Give me a second here.
I see. I'm visualizing you're looking at your wall.
I'm staring at my wall, trying to see which band does not have original members, and it's got to be along those lines. It's almost like hair metal bands are notorious for changing members.
You're not wrong about that.
Oh, and you said Rage Against the Machine, but you did not say System of a Down hasn't changed members either. Now that I see that.
Have they not? Okay. I did not have them listed.
Not that I know of. No original members. See, that's hard because usually there's always one. I mean, Foreigner does not have any original members, but they're not metal.
They're not metal, so I'm not counting that one.
I was gonna originally I thought of the first person I thought of was Metal Church, but Kurt Vanderhoof is there.
System of a Down did change a member prior to. So there was a drummer that was on all of their demos prior to their first album.
It doesn't count.
I'm just letting you know it's listed as their timeline. So
okay, I bet you most of those you could find that with like that too.
Probably now Alter Bridge never because
Alter Bridge never. That was completely different because they just were Creed and changed singers. I don't know. I don't know of one off the top of my head.
I would say the most obvious one right now is Sepultura.
Oh, true, because Andreas was not an original member. You're right.
Yep. But In Flames has no original members.
Really?
Yeah. Napalm Death, because Napalm Death started as two guys, and then nobody from that lineup is around anymore. And this one I think is bullshit because you get two different definitions of how this worked, but Judas Priest is listed as one, but I disagree with that because, as we know, the Al Atkins version is a different band. It's been detailed in multiple books, but it's up for debate. I understand that, and this show's called Debating Metal. So,
You know
what
what?
do you think about that?
So after listening to KK's book and the way it was explained to the readers or listeners, KK was, if I'm not mistaken, KK was with Ian Hill, and then he or I think that was what it was, or KK, or even Ian Hill may have been with Alan Atkins. I just don't remember. But KK was trying to get into that band, and then KK just started doing his own thing, and then I think he was with Ian, and then Alan, is it Alan?
Al.
Right? Al. Then Al, basically his version of Judas Priest just wasn't making it, and he came to KK and was like, "Hey, how about we join forces," kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so then they were trying to come up with a name, and he's like, "Well, why don't we just use this one? Because I always thought this was a killer name." And they said,
So
"Okay."
it's a different band.
I think it's a different band.
That's the way I perceive it, because that was kind of detailed in Rob's book, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was an interview or something like that I'm remembering. But I've heard that story so many times that at this point that reads as like the true story to me. So I wouldn't say that they are, but Sepultura, In Flames, Opeth, because they had original different singer, and now nobody is around from that lineup.
Oh, really? So the guy who's basically the leader now was not the original leader?
He was not.
What's his name again?
Michael Eckerfeld.
Yeah,
but
Michael's so cool.
But he's on every album, so that one's. I would say that one's up for debate as well. So much in the way that we just said with System of a Down. So the other one is Gwar. Yeah, but I really don't know anything about Gwar. I think they're pretty entertaining, but I've never really listened to their music.
Okay.
All right, so I've got a couple more questions for you. Not many left, but what metal band has the most world tours?
What metal band has the most world tours?
Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting question.
I'm only going to give you a short amount of time to answer that one.
Yeah, I mean, I would almost venture to say Iron Maiden.
Yeah, you're correct. So Iron Maiden is tied with ZZ Top and Aerosmith with 24 world tours.
See, now that's interesting because I would never have thought ZZ Top would have that. And yes, I know ZZ Top. I mean, I know ZZ Top has been around forever, but the thing is ZZ Top's music realistically is appealing predominantly to the United States.
Yeah, well, you would have thought. But right. No.
Yeah, exactly. So that's like, there's like listening to books and listening to all these different artists that I've listened to hear bands talk about, oh yeah, we've never toured Europe, we never did this, we never did that, and it's like, what? Or like, like for instance, was it Def Leppard hadn't toured England since they left, when or at the time, it was really early on, but like when they became popular with High and Dry in the United States, they were nothing in England and they didn't tour there. Judas Priest toured England, and then when they got really big, they hadn't toured England in like 4 years or something like that at one point. So it's weird.
I think a good example of that too is Wasp, that
lost
their popularity in the US, and then it was you almost thought it was never going to happen, and now they've been doing their tours in the last few years, and we've seen every single one of them since they came back.
Yeah, and we're going to see them again. Yeah. So, and this is going to be a cool show. It's 1984 to Headless is the tour. That's going to be so good.
So I thought this was cool too. The Iron Maiden has visited 59 countries and played over 2,000 concerts in their career. That's wild, dude. All right. So this one's going to be surprising. What is the most streamed genre of metal on Spotify today?
Why do I feel like this is a trick question? What is the most streamed genre of metal on
Mm-hmm.
Spotify today?
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
You got
I'm
10
gonna
seconds.
say I'm gonna say death metal.
No. New metal.
New metal. Oh, that
New
is
metal.
surprising. Wow.
So
I
new
thought you were
metal
gonna
on
sit there and say melodic death metal, and I was like, oh, okay.
right. No, it's what's the one that we were just talking about the other day with the profane lyrics and all that shit. Um well, joke's over. I burned that one, but yeah. Anyway, back to new metal. I'll just let that one die. So so yeah, bands like System of a Down, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, and even like some of the Metallica stuff, I would say, kind of fits in that group, even though they're not a new metal band per se. But like there's a lot of like that era stuff that's popping back up, and like we said, where people are finding it acceptable to say, well, I like those bands. And I think that's the truth, is that they never really truly stopped liking that music. It was just like you couldn't say it in public.
Yeah, it wasn't
So
cool.
yeah, so new metal is making that resurgence again, which I think is pretty interesting. As far as listening, we're not hearing much new music in that genre per se, but yeah, that one surprised me because I was like, "What new metal? Okay."
I have noticed that a lot of the new metal acts, like even when I went to see that band, the Deftones. They made a new album recently. They've made a resurgence per se. I do know, like I've heard of POD's got a new album out. So Disturbed has continued to make new music throughout their career. Um, Obviously, Linkin Park has made a resurgence with the female singer. So there's a lot of things going on in that category. Korn has never really gone away, and they're continuously making new music. However, it's just longer in between periods of releases.
That's just everything now.
Yeah, I mean that's everything. It's just crazy how things are now in comparison because there's no real record companies, and that's the thing. I mean, they still have record companies, but as I told you, I've recently finished listening to Tom Werman's book and how he was an executive for Sony, not Sony, for CBS Records, I think it was. It like Columbia, there's Epic, and all these smaller little labels underneath it, and nowadays all that stuff is just improbable while some of those major labels still exist. Like listening to people go, oh yeah, because I'm putting this out on an independent record company. It's like every fucking album nowadays is independent.
Mm-hmm.
No one's got shit. You just got to hope that your touring popularity will exceed your your regular, your record sales enough, or not exceed, will get you the eyeballs to people to stream your music, is basically what it is. Your streaming doesn't pay shit. It's all the tours now.
Yeah, it's traveling to places that they've never been before and finding an audience that has never gotten to see them, that's selling the most, because the merch and all that kind of stuff goes hand in hand with that kind of stuff. Like, it was crazy when we went to see Overkill and Testament, how long the line was for merch.
I had never
And
seen a
so,
line that long for in that place before.
yeah, there's just a lot of people that were saying, like, oh, I've never been able to see this band before, so they wanted to, buy merch for it. So
Yeah, the merch lines have been great. I mean, like we've seen Maiden and Metallica, and we saw those merch lines, but that's different. That's just a different level.
yeah,
But to going to see Testament and Overkill at the House of Blues and seeing that the merch line literally was taking up a two sides of a square or two
It
sides
was
of a rectangle.
surrounding the whole place. It was crazy.
Fucking crazy. Yeah. That was pretty insane. I had never seen that before. I mean, we've been to 713 and the line, yeah, they have a zigzag going around, but it's never been that long. I was just like, holy shit. But I think part of it had to do with the fact that they had two split tables and you had to pick from one to the other, and then someone could go to one and then you had to switch. And once you got there, you could do whatever you wanted, which was really weird. And it was a weird night. That whole fucking night was weird.
All right. So I got one last set of questions.
Okay.
This is rapid fire answers.
Ooh, rapid fire. Bang, 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 bang.
I'm going to ask you a certain question, and then afterwards we're going to go over basically like a bonus point round, let's call it. So, all right. I want you to name a band from each of the genres I ask, and you only got like a couple seconds to answer. So, traditional heavy metal, name a band.
Iron Maiden.
Okay. Thrash metal.
Metallica.
Death metal.
Death.
Black metal.
Black metal. Mayhem.
Doom metal.
Candlemass.
Power metal.
Sabaton.
Okay. Symphonic metal.
Symphonic metal. Shit. Not really familiar.
All right. Folk metal.
Folk metal. I don't know anybody.
Progressive metal.
Dream Theater.
New metal.
Korn.
Metalcore.
As I Lay Dying.
Groove metal.
Pantera.
Industrial metal.
Ooh, industrial. I'll say Fear Factory.
Glam metal.
Poison.
Alternative.
Alter Bridge.
Blackened death metal.
Blackened death metal. So they've been a little toasty.
A little toasty.
If I know blackened death metal. I mean,
I'm just fucking with you at that point.
Okay. I was like, what?
I mean, it is a genre, but I didn't expect you to know anything.
There's a couple of genres that you told me about the other day. I had no idea, but so.
All right. So basically, there's no points here, but for bonus points, name a lead singer from each of these genres.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. So,
I'm gonna go one after another.
Okay.
So, doom metal.
Doom metal. Ozzy Osbourne.
No.
Black Sabbath, man. They call the originators. I don't know this.
Okay, then you could say Ozzy for everything.
I know, right? I don't know the singer's name from Candlemass. So
that's fair. Power metal.
What was his name? Oh fuck! Singer from Manowar. I can't remember his name now. There's.
All right. We'll keep going. New metal.
Right. Jonathan Davis.
Metalcore.
Brian Fair.
Thrash metal.
I'm gonna Chuck Billy.
Okay. Death metal.
Chuck Schuldiner.
All right. Well, you did pretty good. So
I wanted to change it around with when you said thrash, because I know everyone's out there. Of course you got to pick Metallica. You know what? They were the fucking originators. Leave me the fuck alone. All right. Well, and Carmine. And it's so funny. I was reading an article about Carmine Apiece, and I only read the headline, and he says that the headline says Carmine Apiece doubles down on the fact that Metallica is the true original heavy metal band. I thought about that, and that's an interesting take. I didn't read the article, but my guess is that he said everybody before them was hard rock. And I'm like, okay, look, as heavy as Black Sabbath was per se, so
you're telling me Iron Maiden was just hard rock before?
No, that's why I started to think. I was thinking about like, you obviously didn't like. That was one of the first bands I thought about. But when we go back to like, because he probably didn't even remember Iron Maiden.
He probably doesn't remember a lot of things.
That's true. But I started thinking about like "Symptom of the Universe." It's a fucking heavy song. right?
Mhm.
Um, and then like Sweet Leaf. So that's when you listen to the original recordings, it's not very metally per se.
I mean, even you could say Diamond Head then, because
Right.
there's so many that came before that. So I
But I don't necessarily because I more in line with the Iron Maiden thought because that was one of the first things I thought of. Like,
no,
well,
I'm just saying like
you
that's
know,
another band that came before Metallica that's metal. So like he's talking out of his ass.
oh, he's talking just to. I don't even know why people are interviewing him still. I got nothing against Carmine at all.
Not at all. He's a legendary drummer. I mean,
Right?
I got nothing against him, but I mean, in this specific instance, he's talking out of his ass. You got to call a spade, right?
Yeah. Uh, but asking some of those questions, like I did not want to answer James Hetfield in terms of thrash because I had already said Metallica, so I was like, well, who is a thrash vocalist, right? And realistically, to me, Testament is one of those bands that transcended that. They went
Mhm.
but they've always remained true to their core for the most part. They
Yeah.
didn't. I mean, Low was the one of their bad albums. However, it was still as much as they tried to be a little more mainstream, I guess you could say in that one, and probably obviously the one before that, they were trying to be mainstream. They still have just Chuck has always sang the way he sang, or the way he sings, and now he's just even more the growl. So I like him as a thrash vocalist.
Yeah. Well, that's all the questions I had. I thought this was pretty fun.
Oh, I think that was very fun. Now I have an idea of what I want to blast you with.
You did pretty good overall. Like you got most things right. I think some of those are tough. Like I mean, you have no idea who's got more streams and that kind of stuff. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. I've got some other questions maybe for the future. But yeah, let's do this again.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I think this is going to be an ongoing thing and asking a different series of questions each time, maybe. It'd be
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not always going to be like Spotify listens and stuff like that unless they sponsor us. Spotify.
We do, it's funny because we do have a lot of listeners on Spotify. So please keep listening, guys.
Yep. I always appreciate when we get feedback and questions and stuff like that. It's always fun to answer. So, all right. Well, that's all I had.
All right. Well, that is the end of this episode. And we hope you enjoyed it as much as we have. If you did, please click like or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you can get our latest download as soon as it drops. And while you're there, leave a comment. Just tell us how you feel about us. Be nice.
And don't forget you can interact with us on Facebook, Instagram, and on X, or send us an email to debatingmetal@gmail.com. YouTube viewers, click subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when we post a new show. And remember, tune into the next episode where we'll continue our ABCs of metal with the letter D. On behalf of Kenneth and myself, stay safe and always turn it up to 11.
See ya.